I had the stage as well. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the stage.
No, I do remember.
And it had all her songs in it. It was so, and it lit up, and it was so good. It makes me want to get it again because I remember having so much fun with it. I don't know if I'd probably just keep it in the box. Hi guys, and welcome to episode 4 of Boys with Dolls, season 2. So guys, today we are going to talk with Scott and his amazing Barbie doll collection, and of course his love for the 90s Fashion Avenue sets. So here we go.
My name is Scott. I live in New York. I'm literally just right outside of New York City, like a 5-minute drive kind of thing.
Oh, awesome. Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. I do plan to go to New York at some point. So, yes. So we'll definitely get there at some point. Okay, Scott. So what we're going to do is we'll start off with our first question. Okay. And for the first question, it is, when did you know you wanted to start collecting dolls?
Well, I started as a little kid. I always had an interest in dolls. My parents were really kind of like, maybe he shouldn't be playing with them. So they got me something. It was like a 6-inch, I think it was a She-Ra doll.
Oh,
this
okay.
was like early 90s.
Yeah.
So they thought, okay, maybe if he plays with that, it'll be whatever. It's kind of like an action figure. And I played with that. I love that thing.
Yeah.
I actually remember how I lost her.
Really?
When I was like maybe 4 years old at the time, 4 or 5, and I was like my parents were driving on the highway, so I kind of like flew her out of the window because she had like this little cape thing, and I thought it was fun. And then we hit like a bump or something, and I lost her, and she went flying on the highway, and I never saw her again.
Oh no! Did you try and get them to stop the car?
On the highway to reach that kind of stuff, it wasn't worth the risk.
It wasn't worth it.
Right. So I think they felt bad. Right. So they got me I got 2 Barbies, actually. They got me the first dolls. I went with my mother to a store called Service Merchandise, which was like this catalog showroom store that was around in the U.S. back then.
Right.
You would basically order stuff from a catalog and it would come out, whatever. They had like a little toy section. So my mom went in there to pick up something that she ordered, and I had gotten Ear and Magic Barbie, and I had Midge. That was like my introduction to that. And I actually have an Ear and Magic Midge, but she was one that I bought years later. Yeah. But I rerouted her and gave her an articulated body.
Oh, awesome.
She doesn't have like the earrings, and this was like my best reroute, and I put her in a Fashion Avenue pack, which I really loved as a kid. And I love it because it's very like Clueless.
Yeah, it does look very Clueless. Yeah, I like it. Well, I'll go with the reroute as well, because I know how tedious and hard that
this was my best one. I styled my friend Victor, who you interviewed I think last time. He's the one who lives in Atlanta.
Yeah,
he actually styled her like this, and I have a 5-year-old niece, and she loved this doll and she wanted to see with it, so she played with it, and the hair kind of got a little tangled, so I had to take it out of the style that he had it. But for now I'm just kind of keeping her like this. But this was literally like my favorite doll growing up as a kid.
Right.
I started recollecting maybe like 7 years ago.
Okay.
And this was actually the first one I bought. I couldn't find her in a box, so I bought a used one, but she was very worn out. So I was like, whatever, I'll give her a new life. So I gave her this hair that I bought from Doll Planet and just rerouted it one by one by one. It was like a long, tedious task, but I was very proud of it. Yeah. And another thing I have with the Air Magic line, you're probably familiar with the Ken.
Yes.
This is the vest and the necklace that he came with.
Oh,
a friend of mine made it for like a
a
competition that I entered. His name is K-Straps on Instagram, but he made this for me for a contest that I didn't win, but I had a lot of fun doing it. But I have like the vest and the necklace, so I just wear it about every now and then.
It's funny, like you used to say, like you were talking and showing this outfit. Like I was actually looking today about, because obviously I do TikTok and stuff, and I was like looking at the Ken outfits, thinking, should I just get them literally just so I can wear them for TikTok, just so I can have an excuse to wear some, like the skater outfit. I just think it looks so cool, and I thought I really want to get it. But okay, so let's move on to our next question. Okay, so what do you like most about doll collecting?
I've always been about styling and kind of like posing them in certain things, like. This is another reroute that I did. And my friend Victor did the hair. It's very Madonna, Blonde Ambition. And this is a Fashion Avenue pack that I just recently had gotten. But I love to just style them, reroute them.
Yeah.
pose them in different ways. Like this is like one of my
Hmm.
favorite reroots because I was
Looks
worried
really
when I
good.
did it. Because some of these dolls, like if you buy like some of the older Barbies, this was a corduroy cool Barbie, and she didn't really have a lot of like plugs in the back. So when I was
Right,
rebooting her, I didn't really have a lot of spots to go in. But my
right.
friend Victor, he just did the ponytail, and I was like, okay, you kind of made the reroot a lot better. But I
Yeah,
love to style them, especially if it's like 90s aesthetic, because this is like a very 90s outfit.
yeah, I
Or
like that.
another reroute that I did that didn't go the way I wanted it to, but I managed to kind of do something interesting is that I did like an 80s theme with this one. Like she's got the little teased up hair and the little
Yeah.
purple mini skirt and everything.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
so that's like one of my favorite things to kind of like do with it. Even if a reroute goes wrong, I managed to just kind of
To work
do
with
a little
it.
something with it.
Yeah. She
And
definitely
this,
is given 80s vibes, I think, with that big
I
poofy
might
hair.
I might crimp it because this is
Yeah.
I think this is saran. No, it's nylon hair. And
Right.
nylon hair is usually more heat resistant, so you put it on the low temperature and you can kind of get some cool
And you
crimps
can
with
get,
it.
yeah,
Because this was a
yeah.
Fashion Avenue KB Toys doll, and if you kind of look back here, they didn't really have a lot of hair in it, so I had to like try
Right.
and work around it. So I'm still learning with the reroots.
Yeah. Well, she's looking really, I was going to say, she does definitely, you cannot tell. So you've done a really good job of that. Okay, so Scott, so we've talked about your favorite doll, okay, which you've just shown us, right?
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
favorite reroot.
yeah,
Midge is always my
cool.
favorite growing
Midge is
up.
always your favorite.
Growing up, she was my favorite.
Yeah,
It's because
she's got a cute face.
she didn't have like that toothy smile. I just like her. She was all lips, and
And she's
the
got
midge
little
dolls were.
freckles, hasn't
She
she?
got the little freckles. I don't think this one does, but I have a midge that I kind of saved that does have the freckles. This was really hard to get. She's like really expensive, but she kind of this was like a the dream life in the dream house
Yeah,
one. I think I
yeah.
used, but she kind of has like I don't think you could really see it, but she has the
No, I
freckles.
can. It's the rooted eyelashes.
And then she's wearing another. I love Fashion Avenue. That was another line I loved as a kid growing up. So this is
Yeah,
like
same. I like
97,
those.
98.
We're 90s babies, clearly.
Yeah.
So the next question would be, if funds were unlimited, what doll would you have to have in your collection?
Growing up, one of my favorite animes was Sailor Moon, and they
Right.
had a line of dolls in Japan, and these dolls were like beautiful. There's
Yes.
one particular one that I really want, but she's like really expensive, and it's an Eternal Sailor Moon doll, and she's like it's called like the Excellent Pose, so she can like pose her arms. I think have wires in them, so they can kind of go like this. The legs have wires in them, so you can bend and pose them in a really way, many different ways. And she has a really beautiful face mold.
Is
So I would just
she is she the Dolphy Dream ones? Because there's a collection of those.
Oh no, this is from like the 90s. This came out in
Oh,
1996. This is like a
right,
90s Bandai Japan doll. I was able to
right.
get a 90s Sailor Moon doll, but this one I think was made in Korea, and I was able to. Her body was kind of like not in the best condition, but her hair and
Mhm.
outfits were. So I'm kind of like trying to salvage her and fix her up a little bit. Sailor Mars. This was a
Yeah.
Bandai, I think Korea or Asia doll. So the
Okay.
outfit was original, but I don't have like a brooch or gloves, which I'm gonna try and figure out. But her hair was like in decent condition. I'll probably have to
Yeah.
fix it up a little bit, and she's got her little heels.
Yeah, they're cute. I do see. I'm not. I'm not a big anime fan, but
There's some that I
I
like.
yeah, yeah. Like I do like Sailor Moon, but I have seen. I guess you've seen the Dolphy Dream
The
set.
Oh,
They
you
just
mean the figures that they have? I think that they really. I have those. I actually
um.
have the figures, the
So
little
I'm
six
talking
inch
like
ones.
the
Oh,
Dolphy
I
Dream.
know
So they're like
the
the
big
same size
ones,
as like a
and you have to
smart
like
doll.
put the wigs on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, those I've seen. Those are really expensive, but they're really beautiful.
They
I
are
would get them
really,
if I could.
really beautiful, aren't they?
They are.
I have seen those, and I was like, oh, they're like probably the ones I would like, but because I'm not a big lover, I wouldn't.
I'd say, yeah, I would probably get it if I had the funds too, but I think my goal would be that 90s, that one
That would be
Bandai
your,
released in the 90s. That would be like
yeah,
the one I would buy.
that would be definitely the one you'd get. Okay, so Scott, so what is your experience with family and friends with the hobby?
My parents, at first, they didn't really like me playing with dolls growing up, but I think they just eventually caved in because it just kept me quiet and it kept me busy and I wasn't bothering them. So I had a
Yeah.
decent doll line as a kid. I remember most of the ones that I had, like the Ear and Magic line was my
Yeah.
favorite. I remember I had like Camp Barbie, I had like Corduroy Cool Barbie. I had Teen Skipper. I love the Teen Skipper line that they had out in the late
Yeah,
90s.
I like those. Yeah.
I had a lot of Kira dolls because
Oh, Kira.
That was another doll that I liked. Actually, I wish I
Yeah.
could. I couldn't find the picture. I was gonna try and get it for this, but there's a picture of me holding one that I got for Christmas one year. It was the
Oh,
Ocean
awesome.
Friends Kira.
Oh,
But I
okay.
liked
Does she have
that was
Does
she
she
had
have
like
like
a
the black legs?
the black legs, and I think you put it in water and it would like
And it
change
disappears.
colors or
Yeah,
disappear. I
that's it.
think. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
out of the Barbie line, I quite like Kira. I don't actually, funny enough, don't have a lot of Barbies. I've recently started collecting them, so I've got two. So I know it sounds so bad. I'm a
I'm
doll
more of
collector.
like I'm more of like the old Barbies. The only new ones I like are the Barbie Looks line,
Yeah,
because they're just very like posable, and I love the posability they have with
posability.
it. Like, it's got like this. This is a
They got
fashion
the made to
apple
move
but
body.
I gave her a regular sweat because she came with this like giant big sweater and it just looked weird. So I just gave it
Yeah,
to her, like, But and I tried to like somebody told me that, oh, you could straighten her hair, and I tried and it just didn't really come out the way. Because she
no,
had like a
no.
lot of curly hair and it's just crazy.
Have you tried boil wash?
I do boil wash. That was actually the result of a boil wash, and it kind of
Oh, right.
decurled it a little bit. But
Yeah,
she's just got a lot of like thick hair. But the boil washing is like the best thing I think I've
yeah,
ever learned. It's helped me to keep the hair not from getting tangled as much.
yeah, definitely.
Um, but yeah, another line of dolls I had when I was a kid that I really loved, and I think my parents were okay with like if it was like a celebrity doll or
Hmm.
something. So the first ones I had were, I don't know if you're familiar with the shows like Full House or Blossom.
Full House, yeah.
Full House, yeah. So they had a line
Yeah.
of dolls as a kid. So I had like these little like 6-inch Full House dolls, and the Blossom dolls I think were just a little bit bigger.
Right.
They were looking back at some of them. I was looking up images of them. I was like,
Yeah.
nostalgic, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
those dolls were really ugly. They were
Yeah.
not. They were
I
like
have seen the
really.
Full House dolls, and I did.
They're
But
really. I'm like, why did I buy this? They were so bad looking. But I
yeah,
loved the show as a kid, so it was
yeah.
kind of.
You have to have the dolls to
You
go
have
along
to
with it.
have them, to play. Another line of dolls were the Spice Girl dolls.
Oh,
I was a huge Spice Girls fan growing up, and I had the only ones I was able to get were the Spice Girls on tour. They had
okay.
all five of them. That was the line that I had, and I remember seeing them at KB Toy Stores, which was like a toy store they had in malls back then. Um, and I remember seeing them, and I went like, "Ooh, Spice Girl dolls!" And everybody heard me in the store because they said it out real loud, and they all like started swarming towards them. And I had to grab one, and I grabbed Ginger. Ginger was my favorite growing up. I do
Same.
have one right now, and this is a product of a reroute because I
Uh,
wanted to fix her up. Because I remember the Spice Girl dolls, the hair was glued.
yeah.
It was like glued or gelled. And then I
Yeah.
was like, I didn't like it. So I was like, oh, let me wash it off so their hair could be more. And then you wash it up and they have like these little bald patches.
I know. I know.
Oh,
I
I
know.
remember I remember doing that to Mel C, Sporty Spice doll, because she had the ponytail. And I was like, oh, but sometimes Mel C puts her hair down. And I did that, and it was like all bald
Old.
on the side. And it was the same with Emma too, Baby
Yeah.
Spice. I have
Yeah.
Posh Spice, and this is a reroute that I did.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm trying to get
Awesome.
like her iconic little bob cut. It was a little hard. I had to do a lot of boil wash because it kept frizzing out like this.
Right.
So
Right.
I
Every
had to
time you
like
cut
do a
it.
trim, boil wash. This is as flat as it's gonna get. I
Yeah.
tried to give her an articulated body, and I found like these like, I don't know if it's a Fashion Royalty or an Integrity Toys
Right.
body, but I
Okay.
don't think it's like official. But she had like these like it looks okay, but it doesn't like match her head as much. But
Right.
yeah, I love her. I have the other ones. I'm gonna reroute them because I'm gonna fix those little bald spots.
Yeah.
So they're already like in a process of being worked on. I hope to get to them soon.
Yeah.
But this one I really like how she came out. Like this was, I would say, one of my better reroutes.
Yeah. She looks awesome. Like, I am a huge, huge, huge Spice Girl fan.
Her lamps to this day.
Um, and as a child, I had to have Jerry, of course. So I had the Union Jack Jerry,
I
and
have the
then
dress.
yes, because of the dress, and then
I needed
eventually
the
I did.
dress.
Eventually, I had all of the collection, but they were from different lines.
They did a
'Cause
lot.
yeah, and like obviously as a child, you can't have them all at one go because it's when your parents want to buy you one, or So it did take me a while. But now I'm just looking at them now. I've got like the only ones I've decided to keep. I did have all of like the whole collection, but I only decided to keep the early ones. So I've got the Girl Power and the On Tour.
on tour. That was my
And they're
favorite.
in and out of the box. They're the only dolls I have in and out of the box because the boxes are so nostalgic to me. Yeah, so I had to
I
have
did
those.
save the box for the some of the ones that I got. I think Jerry was the only one I was able to get in the box. I found them like cheap on eBay, and most of them were like in pretty good condition. I
Yeah.
figured if they weren't in good condition, whatever, they could be fix-up dolls.
Yeah. I
'Cause
mean,
that's like one of my favorite things to do.
there must have been so many of those dolls because you still see them now on eBay and it's just like,
They
and
made a
they
lot
never
of
go out of
them.
fashion, I think, in the
The,
doll community.
I think the later lines that they did, like I think because right around the time when Jerry left, and I think their popularity here in the U.S. kind of started to decline a little bit. They did two lines. One of them is a Posh Spice, and I really want her because she's so pretty. She has like this big
Oh,
like
the Viva Forever set
yes, that's the one. I couldn't
with
think
the
of the name,
videos.
but they're like 200,
I know.
300, $1,000 like the full set.
Yeah,
Um,
the I think so. They did two sets of those. They did one with videos, which were quite big boxes, and they had awesome outfits. And then they did a smaller box set, but it had the puppet.
the little finger puppets
Yeah, and
for the
they
Viva
are
Forever
awesome. And
video.
I would have been so for them, but Jerry's not in it, so
I was like, it just didn't make sense. But I wanted them. I think by that time, I kind of was like, the Spice Girls
yeah.
popularity had worn down a little bit.
Mm,
Looking back, I was like, why did I just kind of disregard that? But this was around
yeah,
the time Britney Spears came out, and I did have
yeah.
some of her dolls too. But I had like the little 6-inch ones.
Yeah, I love those ones. I've got a couple. I've got a couple of Britney dolls, but I don't know what it was. I did fall in love with the little ones, and I had more of a collection of the little ones than I did the bigger ones. But they're just so cute, and like
They're
they
like
have so
cute.
many accessories, and I had the stage as well. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the stage.
No, I do remember.
And it had all
I,
her songs in it. It was so, and it lit up, and it was so good. It makes me want to get it again because I remember having so much fun with it. I don't know if I'd probably just keep it in the box.
There was another line of toys I also had as a kid. I don't think most people remember it. It was a product called Melanie's Mall, and they were like these little dolls that came with like a giant set, and the
Yes.
set would attach, and it's like a giant mall.
Yeah.
I had the one with the elevator. There was like an elevator, and then there was like two stores you can attach to it, and smaller ones.
Yeah.
I had like a little set of that growing up, and I feel like nobody remembers that. I'm like, oh, do you remember this? And they're like, what are you talking about?
I think I only remember it because I'm like such a doll hunter, and I probably imagine. Not sure. I can't say no for definite. I don't know because it was a mall. I don't know
It
if we
was
had
very
it here in
like
the UK.
it was very like I think short lived. This was like mid to late 90s, I think 97, 96.
Yeah.
And here malls were like everywhere back then. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was cool to have like these little shops and everything
Yeah.
as a kid, which I loved. Especially the one with the little elevator. I think it worked. It was battery powered, so you just like push this little button and it would just like go take you to the second
Smooth.
floor. It was a very like genius idea. I'm surprised
Yeah.
it just kind of didn't really take
Dwindled
off.
out. Yeah. Okay, Scott. For this next question, we're going to talk about was you ever bullied for collecting dolls? And if you was, can you give us like a really like most memorable sort of bully that you can remember sort of story?
So in elementary school, the kids found out, but I was a very like wild kid. Like if you bullied me, I bullied you back. So I remember like they would all tease me like, hey, Scott likes Barbies, Scott likes
Mm.
Barbies. And the kid that was doing that, I picked up, it was like in the sandbox, I picked up a thing of sand, I threw it right in his face, and
Well done.
he scratched his eye, and I got in trouble for it. But they stopped after that. They, if, from my experience with bullies,
Yeah.
if you cry or get upset, they'll just keep bullying you. If you stand up
Yeah.
for yourself, you might get in trouble. I mean, I wouldn't say you should do that, but,
Yeah, but
sometimes, you fight back, they leave you alone. But
do
I
you know
remember
what?
that happened.
Yeah, that's such a really good, like, I mean, I'm the same as you. I'm all for, sticking up for yourself. And like, I guess I really didn't stick up for myself. And I think that's why I was bullied for such a long time.
It's so horrible. Like it's like
Mm.
the girls loved me in elementary school, so I would play with
Yeah.
them. I didn't care. I would play with their little Barbies. I would play with their Polly Pockets. Whatever they had. Because to me that was fun. But I played with
Yeah.
like a whole like barrage of toys as a kid. It just wasn't Barbies itself or dolls itself.
Mm.
So I had like, I was like big on Power Rangers. I was big on
Yeah.
like Hot Wheels. I loved a lot of that stuff. The
Right.
Barbies were kind of included in that as a little kid. I used to love to pretend that they were singers and that these were the little cars they drove in. So I did my imaginations like, oh, they got in this little car or whatever.
Yeah. There's so much. I think there's like people like say, what do you, when you're young, like, how did you play with dolls? Like, my mum was like, she had dolls, but she didn't really like them that much because she said they didn't do anything, whereas I think for a lot of us, they are, as a child, obvious, for me, like there was so much you could play out, you could play out different scenarios, fantasies, mine were like, in soaps, pop stars.
Pop stars was the big one.
Yeah, it really does. I think it develops you as well as a child, because I always wanted to be a singer or something like that. And now I do that full time. And my dolls were always singers. They were always singers,
Mine were always like pop star singers. I would put on like my CDs and I would pretend like they were singing to the songs or they were performing it on stage. Whether it was the Spice Girls, whether it was Britney, whether it was TLC, whether it was Madonna, or, so on. Or I would do like, okay, these dolls are from this decade, so let's put on like Cyndi Lauper or something, or Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Like that I just would always do that.
The such cool thing about being in your bedroom,
And I used to make like these little cardboard cities, and the dolls would live in the city. Like my imagination was, I was a very imaginative kid, and the dolls were a part of that, along with all the other toys that I had.
Yeah, definitely. Oh no,
that's
awesome.
Not done anything, but
and I'm glad you stuck up for yourself from those bullies as well, because I hate bullies.
Me too.
Scott, so this one's a really good question. I like this one because I don't ever know what to expect. What is your most strangest thing in your collection?
The show Dynasty?
No.
Like Joan Collins. It's a very 80s show. It's like the sitcom campy like 80s like drama soap opera thing.
Oh, I love
it. It's like a Fashion Avenue pack with these big like shoulder. Like,
very 90s, very 80s.
It's very 80s, even though it's from the 90s. It's a fashion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it was a very 80s outfit, but I know it was released.
In the 90s. It's like they kind of like an homage to like glamour, I guess. I guess it's kind of weird because it's got these little ginormous shoulder pads that you can like cut somebody with.
Yeah. And who's the doll? She's really pretty.
Oh, she's one of the Barbie rewinds. I thought it would be cute to kind of put her in like 80s, like an 80s inspired, evening dress. And she has those old
now.
She has those old bend and snap legs, so I could put these shoes on her, because the other articulated dolls I have, they're just plastic, so these kind of shoes don't really fit on them.
Don't stay on them. Yeah, that's the Barbie series I'm currently collecting because of
I do like some of the rewind ones. I did kind of take out her earrings though, because I want to kind of give her like different ones for this outfit. So I could just poke them, but the earrings were easy to take out. I remember as a little kid trying to take out the earrings, and they were like, they had like this big like hook, and you would damage the ear if you didn't take it out properly. I didn't know that.
No,
so that was like one thing that was
saying.
Always so annoying as a kid. And then I remember when they first came out with like the articulated dolls, they had the Hobbit feet, as they call them. And she couldn't wear heels.
Great big massive feet. Oh yeah, I remember all that. Yeah. Okay, Scott. So this question's a great question because everyone's always got an answer for it. So which doll is next on your wish list?
I think currently right now I do have to actually get more dolls. I've been collecting a lot of Fashion Avenue packs. I'm starting to run out of clothes for, I don't have other dolls to fit it on. So I'm thinking of buying like the most recent Barbie Looks line. I heard that there's a Mariah Carey doll coming out.
Oh, interesting.
Which I might want to get. I really would love to get some more like celebrity dolls. Like I think they just came out with the Gloria Estefan doll. I would love to get that. I really wanted the Tina Turner one, but like literally she died like right when it came out, and now it's like, really expensive to get. I might have to wait around the holidays to get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Barbie Looks line I particularly like. This is another one I have. She's one of my favorites. This is wearing a 1996 little jean inspired. I don't have the stockings. I do have them, but they just don't really fit well. But I figured the shoes, the top, it matches. Very denim-y. This was one of my favorite Barbie looks line. I call her the Naomi Campbell doll because she just reminds me of Naomi Campbell.
Right.
And she's wearing a Fashion Avenue pack from 1997.
I like that.
It's very 90s. It's very Romeo and Michelle. I don't know if you ever saw the movie.
I love Romeo and Michelle. I'm a huge fan of that film.
It's just like something that you would see them wear in the movie, or like at the end of the movie where they get their little stuff with their little store. But yeah, this is another one. But this is like one of my favorite ones they have in the looks line.
Yeah, no, I like that,
so
and I do like the. I do have to say I do quite like the Fashion Avenue 90s series. They're so expensive though, aren't they?
Depends. I get some on eBay, but I'll sometimes see if I can find some loose, and then if I look at the pictures to make sure that, maybe it's not, if the quality's good, if it's not ripped, or I've only ever
then
bought
you'll
one
get it.
that was like ripped. This was another one I got recently, but it's kind of very like Christmassy, and this is like another. This was a not a reroute, a rebody, because the doll that I had, because they don't do like articulation that much anymore. Like some of like these ones are just like,
right.
you can't do anything.
Yeah.
But this was like another one that I got recently. It's very Christmas 90s.
Yeah. And I think articulation is everything now as an adult, because I like to pose my dolls.
I love to pose them. This was a Barbie extra this is another kind of Romeo and Michelle outfit. This is a Barbie extra who I kind of just put in a Fashion Avenue outfit.
Yeah.
And I gave her like the little high ponytail. She still has her earrings. They're very easy to put in. And this is like one of my favorite Fashion Avenue packs I had as a kid. It's very cute.
Very I love that.
And I just figured, okay, she's got the pink. Let's fix her up. I had to wash her. Her hair was all sticky when she came out of the box.
Yeah.
So I always try to do that. And one more Fashion Avenue pack. This one is my favorite. And it's weird because when I bought it, I've been looking for this and it's always been so expensive. And I found it in a pack that said Avon. And I don't know if they like partnered with Mattel back then. And I don't know if Avon designed this. It does look like it was something an Avon lady would wear back then.
I do remember being at my grand's, and the Avon books would sometimes have a special Barbie or Disney doll. So, they're probably, I know, I think I've seen them on eBay and stuff. They're worth a bit.
So, I guess maybe they collaborated with some of that line. I was very happy to find that because it was like $12 on eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it came in the little Avon thing. And I think it got like wrapped, and there was like this little gold seal that had the Barbie logo on it. It was very pretty.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Okay, Scott. So I would just like to say thank you so much for coming on. And like I said, it's nice that we finally was able to, get this video out there and do it. But of course, lastly, is there anything you want to say, add on? Or to any other boys that want to collect dolls and maybe feel insecure about it? Have you got anything else you'd like to add on to this?
Let's see. If you feel insecure as a kid and your parents don't want to buy you dolls or whatever, when you're an adult and you have your own job, you can buy whatever dolls you want. That's me right now. I'm living out some of the things that I really wanted. Fashion Avenue packs. I love rerouting. This is another one that I have. Embrace it when you're an adult. Don't let anybody ever put you down. And live your life to the fullest. If you love dolls, collect as many as you can. Make your happiness as an adult, because it's a short life. You got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing right now. I'm living. There's so much stuff that I wanted as a kid, and as great as a childhood as I had, I think with it, as an adult, I'm embracing it a little more. And especially now that, I would have loved articulation like this as a kid.
Same.
And all that stuff, I would have loved that. So it's kind of great that they have it now. And I think that's what I could say to anybody who might feel a little shy or worried about collecting dolls. And don't worry what people think, because I realized as an adult, most adults don't really care. My friends don't care.
No.
But I think it's also a generational thing. I know so many people in my generation, I think we're the same generation since you remember the 90s.
Yeah, of course.
That kind of, embrace toy collecting as an adult, whether it's unboxing dolls and posing them or changing their outfits. And there's always a lot of communities and even Facebook groups that I've noticed where you can kind of share this part of your life with. I've made a few connections and a few friends who are also doll collectors. And, it's nice to have somebody, to talk to this stuff about. And I think that's another important, kind of thing that you can, that somebody could do.
Yeah. Awesome. Right. Thank you so much for
Thank you so
taking part.
much.
It's been amazing to talk to you. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Boy can't play with gold.